There's an echo in the canyon, a reflection on the sound. When I'm really looking, I can hear you all around.
Anne Marie, no, not today, but thank you for the hat. You're a winner. Oh, I'm so glad. Welcome to our Happy Gay Pride show. And it is part one. There will be a part two. I'll be performing my own poems from this book, which is something I collected in 2016. So, Anne Marie, let's jump in. Pull up the first slide or poem or picture. Ah, beautiful set. Thank you, Ryan. We got the gay pride flag and Lori's flowers. This is so much a celebration. I'm ready when you are. And I'm going to say this actual poem won second prize in the Melito Senior Citizen Poetry Contest. First time I ever won. Can you believe it? The Arc of a Dead Friendship, Not You. Couple of lines. Not long as a lifetime, nor short as a meteorite, blasting an acrid ozone smell of your armpits, lingers in loose fibers of used beach towels that wiped clean the bones of you, broken by me or you, let's see. And so on. And it was just an imaginative recreation of what a relationship might be and how it may end. Not true, just fictionalized, as most poems imaginatively are created. And I enjoyed writing it, especially enjoyed getting second prize from the seniors. I performed it up there in April when they have their annual show. The Gerard F. Melito Senior Citizen Poetry Contest. Put something in for March 1st next year. And nature, oh yeah, the just consolation and solace of nature is what a poet really needs to tune into always. Feel the beauty of flowers in every season. Thank you, Lori. Beautiful. Winter storms in with holly and greens for protection and safety from frigid winds and snow-white flakes. Like a weighted blanket, they provide cozy feelings of comfort. Let's see, did I write that? That must have been ages and ages ago. And Anne Marie, how about a few photos? If you have, that would be fun. And maybe we'll get a glimpse at the Gay Pride New York Parade too, through some photos. I want to thank so many people for this book. There I am. It is Provincetown, and that's the boat slip. And I'm in the middle of two gay guys who are having the time of their lives and just dancing, at the afternoon tea dance. But you know, geography is really destiny. So let's go to a poem or two about the place. I mentioned Gay Pride New York gets cranking June 30th. That's coming up. Today's the 26th of June. Wish I had the energy, wish I had the stamina, but I'm going to have to settle for my own poems to reminisce. I think the most important thing that location, geography does for a poet is to stimulate the poet to give a heartfelt, passionate response, something that's called duende by the Spanish. Here are a few P-Town ditties. A ditty is just a little fun concoction of words, like a confection, and may or may not have a point, but I called them ditties anyway because they were just photo snapshots of Provincetown, which I love. P-Town ditties. And this is listening to the poets who lived up there and wrote. Tennessee Williams and so on. One poet's a cotton swab, another's a thorny knob. A third twitches my ears like flies. A fourth catches me in the headlights. That's so natural and normal for response to poetry. There you go. Gravity used to be my enemy, but now my friend is forgetfulness. Road-kill clothes like turtles and toads cluck. A mystery, discarded ideas like shadows of sparrows create your synchronicity. So just photos in words, basically. And then the place. The place is magic, as is Key West. This is my impression. It's called Provincetown Morning, 9/22/10. Wow, that's a long time ago already. Yeah. At low tide, the wide stretch of soft sandy beach just after sunrise greets dog walkers and painters up early for coffee. I enter the painting just off McMillan Wharf. An empty brown bag blows around and around in the rising breeze, rippling the smooth water. Flocks of pigeons circle. Tally-ho, a toothless old salt, riding a bicycle, shouts to a passing pickup truck. The tile imprint of three-toed pigeon feet in the soft brown sand. Stubby, broken-off wooden stumps of a long-ago wharf like rotted teeth in the gummy sand. The town bell rings dependably at 8 a.m., even though every town clock on tower, school, and ship is off by hours. A fishing trawler's long blasting horn signals departure. Bah! The Jolly Roger flaps atop one of the many sailboats tied up. Another old salt surveys his landed skiff at lowest tide this morning. He's in tall rubber black boots, long brown leather coat, and he sports a long white ponytail, as long as his brown and white dogs. You can overhear those who have lived their entire lives here. Quote, if you live here, never allow yourself to become jaded over the natural beauty. Where else can you walk home from work on the beach every day? Glorious weather at Race Point Beach, the flashing rainbows in the spray above the line, cresting waves like wild horses' manes in the deepest breath of the sea at the windy finish. It was magic for me. Magic, because a poet's eye is going to pop open. An artist, a painter's eye is going to pop open with the natural beauty. And of course, there are other places in the country that are so gorgeous that you just want to sing, write songs, write lyrics, do oil painting, watercolor, and you want to write. Tennessee Williams wrote several of his biggest plays there. And there's a new collection of plays at the Provincetown Tennessee Williams Play Festival annually, September 23rd to the 29th. I'm going to be there as a volunteer again. Wow, that takes my breath away. So, yes, I've got poems for you, but I want to see some more photos, if Anne Marie could pull them up. That was a good one of the boat slip and the Sunday afternoon tea dances at 3. I'll be hitting there. I am there on the deck at the boat slip listening to poets who were reading their poems. And 3 of my good friends are in the back row just in front of me. Playwright in the middle, Luis Aviles. And he helped me by coaching me in one of my attempts at a playwriting foray. But let me tell you, it's a different kind of art. Oh, yes, it is. Dialogue and so on. Love that shot. And of course, June, July, August weather is premier. I have a poem which requires a little costume change. So, a little fair warning to the camera folks who are helping me out here. And the costume change is going to be from me here now celebrating Gay Pride back to Hadrian's time, the Roman emperor. 117 to 138 AD. Hadrian's Wall. So many things he built. He was one of the Hellenic Roman emperors, of course, and he had a young lover. And that worked up to the lover's age of 19, but then culture proscribes anything outside of the relationship between Hadrian and his wife, the Empress. So that was the culture of the time, and this is probably what it sounded like. I was inspired by a book called The Memoirs of Hadrian, and he didn't leave any memoirs. It's an imaginative recreation by a Canadian writer, Marguerite Yourcenar, and she wrote a big book, called it The Memoirs of Hadrian. And she studied 10 years, manuscripts and history in order to produce the book. I was taken away by it, totally transported by it. And I had to respond in a way because it was so momentous. So, Hadrian, emperor in Rome, on the death of Antinous, the young lover. A faux poem, this is what I call it, in his voice, as I imagine the depth of his grief and loss. I used to have you as my diadem, my diachronic memory. It's true. Socrates had his Alcibiades, Achilles his Patroclus. Should not Hadrian have his Antinous too? Do not refuse to play your part in the service of art and civic responsibility. From lassitude, anxiety, fear, and sloth, you'd grown to love me. On the lion hunt, fused into one flesh, as our horses reared, purple and gold stitched into one cloth, ripe grapes entwined on the vine, red togas in tapestry, fiery lines of poetry enshrined in perfect rhyme. So I'll fashion clay and mud from the Nile. Marmoreal bone of pure white stone and lapidary flesh to caress. Instead of your sweet breath, your wet tears and tantrums too, I'll build cities for you. Share your God-like image across the world, for you held, when we loved, my ecstasy, my mind, my soul, my genius in the porches of your ear. You were the vessel for my breath, sweat, creative fire. You are the vision I propose for all time and truth. Your tomb will flower in the desert of my repose. That was quite a book I read by Marguerite to produce this kind of reaction in me. Marvelous book. I recommend it thoroughly. And a quick costume change. And Anne-Marie, moving on. I think you've got some other poems of mine from the book, and I'd love if you'd put up one or two more. As Captain Mike did, he helped me one of these times with his guitar playing. This is very, very tender and dear to me as a poem because it is really a memory of Matthew Shepard, and I have rainbow down there on the screen because it's really a memory of Matthew Shepard's life, which should have been celebrated, but of course he was killed for being gay, coming out as gay. And now I scream, I'm out. My rainbow-colored skin is in. Reflected light now breaks my bones, illuminates the heart within. And yet still I can't resemble him, reflect the man, his heart, his skin. I still can't say hello to him. The other, on the right side, is a poem that has a certain beat. And Captain Mike helped me with the guitar in recording that, I think, a few months ago. These days, I'm having a blast. Personal boundaries inviolate. I no longer cry a lot. Keeping plants alive for 5 and pets alive for 2. I'm ready for a relationship. I'll use condoms when I screw. Now it's personal growth, evolution, no more doubt and confusion. Edna St. Vincent Millay takes my breath away. Couple of notes. There's a movie called 28 Days. Ever see it? It's about drug addiction. And there's a line at the end of the movie that's so fantastic. It said, if you can keep a plant alive for 5 years, and you can keep a pet alive for 2 years, then you're finally ready for a relationship. And that's after you've been cured of your drug addiction. Wonderful movie, 28 Days. So, it's the general common culture that we reflect. Our life is really movie bound. So many movies that we refer to culturally that make our lives much richer. Oh, there it is, Mike. Remember that one? Libido in a Speedo, spandex and flex. 65 and still alive, looking at my best. Cruising on a quest for love with a hunky guest. I'm halfway home, but still alone. Can't stand another pest. Could never love a man with a cell phone. Identities are detours too, non-negotiable. And yet, let love's language be lost at what cost? And you're a label for the rest. Down denial aisle. Exile of desires seemed best. Now traditional aspirations are stewing. I'm campy when I'm screwing. Don't claim the grasping middle class. Little typo there. I think I got some more of that poem. I'm not sure. Anyway, moving on. Until I get, the cane, the guy who comes out on stage and pulls you off with the cane. Here's one that just occurred to me when I was meeting somebody new. Acceptance of Brian's ways in enjambment. Enjambment is a poetic device that means you don't stop at the end of the line, but you go on, and you go on. You don't take a breath at the end of the line, which is traditional. To take that breath so that you can go on. Acceptance of Brian's ways in enjambment with me. Let's see imaginatively. Let me count the ways I'm dancing with your mind, the body not far behind. The clutch of abandonment, there it is. I've felt it again. How do you handle your sexual appetite without every night getting into a bar fight? And the next one, before we go to break, I'm so glad we can put these up because actually, this is one of my favorites, and you have to see the words. The setup is, I had a cat, Abby, and I was down in New York City marching in the parade because someone from the New York City Gay Pride chorus gave me the little sign, come on over, march with us, sing with us. So I jumped the barricade, jumped into the parade, and it was Dylan, young guy, singer. And when we got to share some emails, he actually came for one visit, and he has a cat named Colette. So Abby and Colette, 2 female cats. I decided that if the two of us ever made it, we'd have to have our two cats together. But that wouldn't work, would it? To Dylan, my cuddly Abby and your cute Colette, our two respective cozy pets, could possibly be a lesbian pair if they wouldn't scratch out each other's hair, as jealous cats don't easily share while staking out a private lair. Let's plan some long weekend to get them together, while we in my bed get it on with leather. At first, we'll tickle them gently with feathers. To sweeten the pie, we certainly won't scrimp. We'll create dishes of noodles and shrimp, and we'll show them with candles and music how after dinner we lovingly slow dance. Ah, thank you, Anne. But a trance-like look Abby gives me when I offer her scraps might say, "Fat chance, you fool. I'm not eating that crap. And I'm not buying the lesbian rap." This will tell me that she's not easily swayed by persuasion or naps. But we'll show them two cats. We'll passionately prance to my bedroom entwined, convince them that romance is sweet and that we're happily horny when we're both in heat. Well, we'll try food, sex, leather, and feathers, hoping that eventually you'll live life together. This coyness, ladies, I will disparage, unless you'll be ready for a Boston marriage. So if tickles, tough love, shouts, smells, and shrimp won't bring this about, then Dylan and I will call him a pimp. We love our cats. And Abby has passed on. And she had a good life with me. And no, we never put them together. Good thing. Woo. Here we go. We are passing into the book. And I've got a few more before we'll take a break, if we can. Ladies and gentlemen, is it break time? Thank you. We're going to take a little break. I'll catch my breath. That was a great one to end with for this first half. Do stay with me, because the best is yet to come, maybe even the most salacious. So stay tuned. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Come on in, come on in.
Welcome to Sure Things.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mazzetti Show.
Hello and welcome to Arts and Entertainment.
You matter.
You matter.
You matter. And your words matter too.
Your words matter.
What you say in the hallways at school or in the student section at a game matters.
Words can be hurtful.
Words can be offensive.
Words can leave scars.
Words can also inspire.
Support and uplift.
You and your words.
Are they both important?
As a matter of fact, yes.
I'm back. Oh, so good to be back with you. I do have a book from the Clinton Library. They are happily celebrating Pride with us. Their display out front is really lovely. And this book caught my eye. And it's very powerful. Brown and Gay in L.A. And this fellow is really writing about second generation, as he calls them, Latinos, Chicanos, mentions a few famous Latina poets, and that's a good thing. But as you know, the machismo that's rampant in Latino culture sets up impediments, roadblocks, and really a tough road to hoe for gay men of color, and particularly the Latino, and Latinx, as they say. There are terms like intersectionality, which I would prefer to call intersexuality, just a poet's pun. But intersexuality and intersectionality mean if you're gay, of color, and a first generation who has gone to college from your family, then you have big hurdles to jump over, to lead the kind of free and open life and happy, completely honest life that you've always dreamed of. So, his name is Anthony Christian Ocampo. He's a professor of sociology at California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. And he talks a lot about Asian men as well. And he groups them all together in those who have to struggle very, very hard to keep their identities from their families and then finally to come out. Here's a summary of the book and what he's done. In my opening chapter, I shared a question posed by the scholar that drove much of the writing of this book. Quote, "How do you become in a world bent on you not being and not becoming?" What I came to realize as the writing of this book progressed, that second-generation gay men's ability to exist, as well as their ability to write themselves into existence, depended on their willingness to situate their stories as tragedy or triumph. That is either or, black or white, successful or traumatic. And then I noticed a name very familiar to me. And this is it. His name is Ocean Vuong. Wow, I had just read his book. The title of his book, this fellow Ocean Vuong, a Vietnamese immigrant, is On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous. And he has the most challenging diction and wonderful, wonderful composition and brilliant novel. It's hot and it's popular and it's making the circuit. It is, On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous. Ocean Vuong. Who names a kid Ocean? Well, if you crossed one, that's the last thought in your mind. Ocean Vuong, V-U-O-N-G. Vuong was born in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Early in the childhood, he migrated to Hartford, Connecticut. Yeah, geography is destiny. It does really impinge on your cultural development and your personality. So he ends up having a love affair with a young guy up in the tobacco fields of South Windsor, where I worked for half a day once. That's all I could take. Lifting shade-grown and broadleaf, mostly. Broadleaf. Lifting broadleaf tobacco laths into the top of the barn. Are you kidding me? For that pay? Well, he did it several summers. And he's a slight guy, not built too strongly, but I lasted half a day. I often talk about this notion of what I think is radical okayness. This is what Ocean Vuong came up with, to have his family, immigrant family, traditional, and his school where he went in Hartford. I did too, Dwight School, South End. And his friends accept him. He came up with a concept which is where I hope queer narrative can move forward. Vuong says, which is not one or the other. It's not hyperbolic triumph or travesty. It's not success or failure, but a radical new realization of being okay with gay. And then the author of this book says, hearing this forced me to reckon with the ways that my field, sociology, incentivizes a certain kind of storytelling. And on. I find him a brilliant writer. He lives in Amherst, Massachusetts, Ocean Vuong, and he's writing plays now. They'll probably make movies for him. And isn't that a wonderful immigrant story? And immigrants seem to get a bad rap, lumped together and always stereotyped. But a guy like Ocean Vuong came over as an 8-year-old kid with his mother and traditional grandmother who played a big part of his life. Look it up. Read the book. It's so good, so tender, and so heartwarming. I'd like to read a few more of my poems. And Anne-Marie, if you have any left, put them up, please. Yeah. I think one of my inspirations is Leonard Cohen. You know, his lyrics. I didn't realize that, but I really do feel it. After I read his biography, and love his music, of course. So I'm not sure if we have any up, but I'm going to grab my book and just scattershot through. Yeah. I love Tucson. I'm there, was, until COVID hit in 2020. Oh, I was there every other year. That's all I could afford. And I spent 2 to 3 weeks in a little guest house and loved going to coffee shops. Coffee shops are my thing. It's where I write my poetry. And this is one of them. Do you know Beyond Bread? Do you hear of it? Have you ever been to a Beyond Bread coffee shop? At Beyond Bread today, all raucous noise, slammers, the bread slicer not mellow 'cause it stammers, sounds like jackhammers, loud poets shouting, and all the kids rapping, screaming, pouting. Everything in here is on the setting of bellow. Between parents' legs, chairs, tables, the kids run yelling in cell phones, their sound bouncing like them off tin ceilings into frying pans, increasing in volume till they crack eggs. Okay, there's always Grandma and Grandpa along. Grandma, Grandpa, and the kids, such class. Unfortunately, the parents on the skids, their ass. Economy's bad, much doubt and angst prevail. Where the skip that one, is the declining middle class. Where? Where, oh, where is the declining middle class? Anne Marie. Good. In the men's room, the old gents take their time, patiently at mirror, preening, combing white hair. Oh my God, that's me now. That's me. Looking closer into the mirror in the men's room, even combing the handlebar mustache. Young bucks dash in, do business, and depart without washing, grooming, or leaving a fart. Coffee shops, the coffee shop life. Yeah. Leonard Cohen. Musicians, too. Guitar players, like my buddies Mike and Mike. And Laurie, too. So, my favorite image of Tucson is this one. Barrio man. Inscription, without tears, there are no rainbows. It's from Native American wisdom. By his slow gait and shuffle, he appears to carry his defeat deep in his bones under his tie-dyed hooded sweatshirt. A Christ-like figure in brown sandals, pushing a heavily laden grocery cart, he seems unaware of the moving crowd. And I think we may have the next page, or if we don't, I will. Yeah. Oh, I like that one. Tucson again, out my back door at the place I rented. And Rita Dove is a Black American poet, just a marvelous writer, prolific, and is out with a new book. American Smooth, and this is my homage to Rita Dove because she's the one who inspired me to write this. First the footfalls echoing, the full-faced joy of his lighted eyes. Chiquita, Chiquiti calls to birds behind my back door. A small blonde boy skips into view in the hand of his short grandmother. He, like a mooney bird in green fatigues and red cap, she in magenta and black, mocking his innocence. I would like to feel again the unalloyed joy of that light-hearted skip and song. Struggling to keep up, he punctuates his stride with a slide and quick hop. And you know, since then, since writing that, and this goes back, I have been learning a few Spanish words. Oh, on his little legs, American Smooth, on his way to school. Across the street now, then back into view, safe and secure, he hops down the road and disappears into Saturday. Oh, I love that little kid. Just the way he handled himself with Grandma in Grandma's hand. And if I were there now, I would jump out the window and say, besitos, besitos. Those are little kisses, as the birds give you. Besitos, besitos, querido amigo. In Guilford, I was looking out my window, and as Robert Frost did, wrote a poem called Tree at My Window, Window Tree. It's a very moving poem about helping himself climb out of deep depression through the beauty and the solace of nature. So it was tree at my window, window tree, and he projects his despair onto a tree. this is the opposite of that. This is a poem based on a pine tree outside my window around Christmas time. And I wanted to write it for the first time in the shape of a poem that imitated the shape of a pine tree. Agape, gift in a winter garden, you wait outside my window, evergreen. Like hope new minted in my mind, I am agog like a child as I gaze in wonder at the pattern cast into the snow like some angel alone at the top. Mesmerized, I gaze out my open window, aground in a vision of desert places and empty spaces in my heart. Anesthetized by a blade-like breath of pine, I inhale your spirit like a fire eater, untouched by the eternal flame. There is nothing I need do in loving you but watch like candles, lest the light go low. Like a wreath on the door, like a sandcastle on the shore, like a leaf in the winter wind, and like the child watching in a window, I am awake to your love. I am agape as I glow. Thank you for embracing my shadowy self as you walk through my empty spaces and fill my desert places fully with agape. Yes, I will embrace the burning bush. The note would be biblical, and I'm playing with the word agape, which is God's free love for humanity, and agape, a natural, right? A pun. Agape, aglow. The sound of the poem is repetitive as well. It was a time when I was coming out and having some depression around it. And I was working it out that Christmas and looking out the window, and there was the pine tree. And it was, in a sense, talking to me the way the tree talked to Robert Frost when he was projecting his feelings onto it and talking with it somehow to work his way through his depression. It was a wonderful, wonderful poem. So many of my mentors are the natural poets who are well known, who are popular, certainly in the lexicon of American poetry, like Rita Dove and her collections, Robert Frost, and last show we did was Juneteenth, and that's up now. So if you want to check that out, after this show comes on, we'll hold this off for a few weeks to get the Juneteenth show its full due. Yep. Art of Poetry, number 36, 37. And now I'm going to get closer to the end of the book. And at the end of the book, I find myself going back to a poem called American Pie. You remember that song? American Pie. Yeah. This is really, again, saying goodbye to Provincetown. My longing for this town breaks with morning song, the golden shouting sunflower head. No longer across the way, a nose stuck on like a lump of unformed clay instead. Rainbow flags in windshields of delivery trucks, gay men in clumps dragging cell phones on loose leashes. Doggies like people walk into the Wired Puppy. That's the coffee shop down the corner. That's where I went to write. And it's called The Wired Puppy. And that's what gay men do. They have their puppies on a leash, and they stop in the coffee shop after they wake up after a night of dancing at the A House in Provincetown and groom themselves a little bit. Doggies like people walk into the Wired Puppy, unmolested, grunting to each other at tables. Swipe again, quote unquote. Doesn't accept the cards. Shirtless buff Neanderthals. Bow wow. Eat bolo. Drink red-eyed double shots espresso. Eschew the muffins. Use toasty toilet. 1 for pee, 2 for poo. Farla Jean Merman vamping it up. Hi, hi, American Pie on the radio. Susie Levi came in yesterday, still singing in the band. French lipstick lesbians. No competition and no U-Haul. You know that saying. I won't repeat it. Sasha, the Russian painter, driving his vintage Chevy. Sean, did you write the book of love in your song? Marilyn from Hofstra, class of 96, and the music never dies. If it isn't biking, it's Reiki. And Vantage Mercedes 2. Drifting politely. Ah, what a feast Provincetown is. Leisurely until patience ends in a bump and a scuffle. Crystal blue eyes searching, shout, screw you. Oh, Wired Puppy, your wiring has killed off communication, compassion, and deepest human sympathy among entitled wasps and the rest of us. Just under the surface lurks murder, mayhem, monstrous behavior. Friday before Irene, that was the hurricane, a town where spinning, clanking old bicycle wheels sound brassy jazz and symphony with the growling horns of more delivery trucks. We'll have a good time then. And the Dune zombies drink Wired Puppy red eye outside. Matching pug poochies sit patiently awaiting their other daddy. And treats from the cookie jar. They identically reflect the smooth symmetry of owners. Yeah, that was the cloning effect. The looking alike that was a rage. Yeah. Well, this is my most accomplished poem, and my friends tell me it's my best. So here goes. 9/11. You do remember what 9/11 was. Truth is no whore, although she often gives me a standing ovulation. It is 3 a.m. She is knocking right now on the door of my dreams with a remarkable sense of metaphor. I was learning how to make rice and beans again in my dreams with Gwendolyn Brooks in the white gloves and gown, James Baldwin in a black sequin stovepipe hat. I get up, float to the door, invite her in for some lovemaking, put on the decaf coffee pot. She looks me in the laser eye. I need a good man to believe in me, as a husband does a wife, as 2 gold swans on one great pond in September's pure light. I am not he, I answer. Believe me, even though you are my best mentor, mistress, muse, I do not have your humility, honor, hope, your defense against Gaddafi's crooks, kooks, dictators, dupes, corruptors, contagions, those who failed to connect the dots between the FBI and the CIA. I am a weak, soft spider's voice in the web. It's true, she answers. I cannot be bought, cajoled, stored for some future brave new generation to face. Like your corruptible race, I cannot be arrested like Assange, covered up like Hodorkovsky, suppressed like Osip Mandelstam, twisted by dictators, demagogues, demanding adulation, quote, accomplished. I am not bemused by those who repeat history every 30 seconds. Those who try and fail to screw me have premature Iraq-ulation. My armies of infinite facts are legion, like rogue asteroids, roaming the universe, blasting cant bombast, received religion, rancid lives. Remember, patience is the highest praise. As I reach for her nurturing embrace as a child for his mother, I wake. It's only Abby's sweet whiskered face, another dream, but I think the only thing that matters in life, as in art, is she, her beauty, and that this time, the fire on the edge of glory. That's a wrap for part 1. And I hope to see you in a few weeks with part 2. Meanwhile, please, please, please check out Juneteenth and the wrap of that show. Thanks for joining us. I had a blast with you again today. And thanks for the staff.
If I'm gone tomorrow and you hear this song today, just remember there is love for you in every note I play. There's an echo in the canyon, a reflection on the sound. When I'm really looking, I can hear you all around, all around.